I just want to start by saying that I absolutely adore you guys. I just love each and every one of you so much. I can't tell you. It just warms my heart and makes me so happy to see so many of you waiting for this breakdown. I'm so sorry that it's a day late. I'm dealing with a extremely personal family matter. It's going pretty good, but it is taking up an incredible amount of my time. Happily, I'm so happy to help my family with this. But that's why this was a delay. And it's been so tough with a lot of the toxicity around the acolyte. And it's been hard, but I've been very proud to have a positive space for this content. And I'm so glad that many of you are enjoying it. And I felt bad about what happened with the Wicked trailer. Thank you, Lady Jennifer Snow. And I just want you to know, I just love you guys. And I really appreciate your support, especially, when I am dealing with, I've never seen anything like the acolyte hate. And I am nervous about what's going to happen with this show. But really, I just can't tell you. Some of you are very kind to say that I lift your spirits. It's right back at me. You lift my spirits like you wouldn't believe. And I really needed it today. So when I logged on, and I was, as usual, a few minutes late, and I saw how many of you were waiting, I just can't tell you how much it meant to me. So I just really love you guys. And I know that many of you say I should be proud of the community that I built, and what I'm most proud is that it has such wonderful people in it, and that my content would attract such wonderful people means the world to me. Okay, I didn't mean to do all that mushy stuff, but I was just so moved, and I wanted to tell you how much I care, and I just love you guys. All right, so I got to give gift. This is a subscriber stream. Anyone who's a subscriber can comment on this. But I do want to gift 5 memberships. Thank you, 80s Model. Thank you, everybody who's gifted some memberships. Because of my family issues and because it's raining trailers this week, I don't know how many lives we're going to have. But if, for instance, say another trailer were to drop later in this week, there would be a live breakdown of that trailer as well. I mean, we'll see. We'll see, maybe. I don't know. All right, okay. Woo! I'd say we do a Wicked breakdown. I'm excited for Wicked. I'd say we do a breakdown for that new trailer when it comes out, but they've already released so much of that movie, I don't know if they should do any more trailers. All right, so when we start out, thanks, Danny. Hi. All right, now I really want to be able to cook on this, okay? And so that people, thank you, Popcorn Roulette, and so that people who are not watching this live can enjoy the breakdown. That allows me to do live trailer breakdowns. So I'm going to focus on my breakdown, and then at the end, we'll do a Q&A. You guys, please comment, share stuff while we're going. I might comment on some of it, but for the most part, I'm going to dive into the breakdown, okay? So, I'm glad you like my shirt. Who said that? Thank you, Danny. I wore this specifically for this breakdown. I try to theme my clothing to the movies I'm covering, as you know. And it had to sub for Gladiator. Hi, Jeff. All right, okay, all right, here we go. I can't do a trailer reaction, Bubbles, because it's been over 24 hours, and that's just too late to do a reaction. Also, I was sad that the trailer reactions that did go up, there was not a ton of interest in this show. So first we're going to have a little business discussion, and then I'll break down the trailer. All right, I got some graphics uploaded here. All right, so I have to say that while I think that we're going to have a lot of fun with this show, and I'm excited to watch it with you and break it down weekly, I, as a producer, never would have greenlit it in its current capacity, the way that it is. I do not think that it's very strong from a ratings perspective, and I'm kind of nervous that although we had fun with She-Hulk, and I'm hoping that maybe this is more She-Hulk than Acolyte, but I'm scared. Especially because I think the Acolyte hate was so successful that I think that has emboldened the haters against this kind of project, So I'm a little nervous about it. Okay. Now, another problem is that it took too damn long. It took too damn long to do this show. I think if this show had come out anywhere near Wanda Vision, I think that perhaps people would be a little bit more interested in it. I think that now it's really for the Wanda stans, who are mighty. Not only are there a lot of Wanda stans, but of course Wanda stans are quite good at getting attention on social media. So I have no doubt that this show will probably trend. Although, as we're seeing from the Acolyte numbers that came out yesterday, we haven't had a chance to discuss them. We'll either do it in a live or on Movie Math. But they're not good, even though the show does trend on social media. Now, I don't know why they would build a WandaVerse without Wanda. Where's Wanda? That's the whole reason anybody's tuning into this. Now, you might be wondering, where is Wanda? Well, I can't give too much away, but I will tell you that Wanda will be returning. I wouldn't get my hopes up. That's kind of like that should be the slogan for the MCU. I think everybody's like, it's going to go back to what it was right away. No, think about the MCU like walking its own witch's road. Like it's working its way back, but it's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a minute. So I wouldn't, you never know what might change. I wouldn't expect to see Wanda soon, but you will see Wanda again. Maybe they'll have some announcements at San Diego Comic-Con. Wanda, I think from what I've heard, is going to come back in a major way at some point. And I heard that she's probably in Secret Wars and maybe in Vision Quest. And I think they're building a return. So they have this show, and then they also have the rumor is that Young Avengers will be a Children's Crusade storyline. And you can see there's Wiccan right there, front and center. There he is. Okay? There's Wiccan. Hold on. Yes, my mic was in the shot. Sorry. There's Wiccan right in the front of that comic. There's Wanda right behind him. And so I would have jumped right to Children's Crusade. I would say, why can't Agatha instead of Vision, who, I guess they wanted to have Vision in there. But you're like, why wouldn't you have Agatha just help the twins with Children's Crusade instead of this extra chapter? Especially because it has absolutely nothing to do with the comics. We'll see if maybe that's different when the show actually comes out. But we're not even going to go into like the backstory of all these witches because there's none. And I think that is, I think that Kevin Feige has been ignoring some of the parts of the secret sauce that helped him build the MCU so successfully. So I wish that it was a little bit more having to do with the comics. As I just said, I really would have jumped to Children's Crusade right away. I don't know why you need this extra step. I think we've said that about a lot of the things they've done in the MCU lately. And I think you're going to see a lot of characters that are coming take a longer time to arrive as you fully know them than you would expect, right? Like, let's say, for instance, I don't want to give too much away, but let's say, for instance, that there was a character that you knew who had a crucial part of them that was like the core of their character. I've heard in a couple of cases that might just be teased at the end of said project and would be something that would come out in full in the future. And it's a little frustrating because you're like, hey man, why wouldn't you just do that right off the bat? Why wouldn't that be what the first project is about? And I think that's almost like what this is. Is this whole show the discovery of that this is Wiccan? Because you're like, we all know that it's Wiccan. Why do you need an entire show to tell us? Like maybe you could take an episode to be like, is that Wiccan? Like for instance, I saw that they said, let's just, I don't want to, I think I'm trying to walk a fine line here between doing a breakdown and not giving everything away so that we can still enjoy the show as we watch it. Because I think that has really been a problem, leaks. But yeah, we'll see how the show comes together. I think it would be unfortunate and I don't know if that's what in this case, I don't know if that's the case, but I think we've seen that before. Like Secret Invasion was like pre-Secret Invasion, and you were like, you didn't even do the Secret Invasion storyline. All right, so by the way, Wanda Vision benefited very much from the House of M comic. That was a big reason that people tuned in. It's interesting to me because one of the reasons that the first Captain Marvel movie was so successful is because people felt that it was going to really introduce, myself included, Secret Invasion with the Skrulls. We were like, oh, this is it, baby. And it kind of did a little bit, but not to the degree that I think that we wanted it to. And so House of M had like a similar situation. Going in, everybody was like, it's going to get House of M any second, and it never did. Luckily, it was otherwise a very good story. It was a good mystery. It was the first Disney Plus MCU show. So at that point, we thought everything was going to tie into the movies. We thought we were still playing that game, and we were very excited about it. We ended up not playing that game. Ralph Boner, the missed target, heard round the world or around fandom. And so I think that, but that was a big one of the reasons that Wanda Vision was so successful. Also, the Wanda Vision romance. I think a lot of people are invested in that. That's right, Mish. Everybody's like, where's Mephisto? Every week we'd be like, oh, Mephisto's coming. Dude never showed up, all right? So, and also I got to tell you, I think they could use Mephisto. They could use some male energy in this show. I think there's something nice about women taking back, the negative connotations of the word witch. I think it's interesting that Billy is the only male character that you see in the trailer, who has any large role, and he's an LGBT character. I think that's all very interesting to me. But I do think that it would benefit the show from a rating standpoint to maybe have brought in Mephisto, right? I mean, we'll see. It is okay to have a project like this, Remy, but, I think you have to get a little bit, it's also important for this show to have good ratings. That's really crucial. I mean, if Marvel does not have those expectations for this, if this is the MCU's Good Omens, a show that I love, who cares? Good Omens is going, although we'll see what happens with Neil Gaiman, but Good Omens is going through three trailers. I see you, GOX. We're almost done. All right, so the next thing, though, I wanted to point out to you, though, is that this is the character that is I believe, from a business perspective, is the reason for this show to exist, not Agatha. This character who may or may not be Wiccan. So I think that's really, really an important thing to cover. This is an extremely popular character. You might be like, where's the other kid? His brother, his twin. Nobody cares about that character. That character's not successful. This character is extremely successful. And so I think the hope is that this character would be introduced successfully, because, they don't really have a really strong front and center LGBT character in any of comics, interestingly, in live action. I mean, they haven't even really done the Harley Poison Ivy thing. That's worked very well on the animated series. But I mean, Wiccan is a really successful character in comics. And it's exciting for him to jump to live action like this. So we'll see. There's been some debate because he acts very differently than the character in the comics. Mr. Andrews asks about whether or not the character might be, more campy, than people had expected. I think it's definitely a different take on the character, let's say. Maybe it'll be fun. Maybe it'll work out. But it is different. It is very different. It's very different than Wiccan in the comics. And so I hope it works, because it's extremely important for this character to go over well. And it works having him come in the Agatha show, because in the comics, Agatha Harkness was his nanny, was his and Tommy's nannies. Wiccan's powers are basically like the Scarlet Witch. I wouldn't say they were chaos powers. They're blue colored, We have all these different color witches we're getting. I guess that came from the fact that Scarlet Witch is red, Billy or Wiccan is blue. You saw that in Wanda Vision when he was a child and his powers first manifested. Agatha is purple, etc., etc. All right, but apparently they're changing it a little bit, that these characters all have a different motivation. Wanda is chaos. I'm not sure what Agatha's is, but apparently the Green Witch here is supposed to hook and be almost like a poison ivy with life and the environment. That doesn't work for me, to be honest with you. They should just all be like Scarlet Witch, but I guess they can be different colors. Although that also just seems to me very much like the Infinity Stones. Okay, now the last thing I want to ask before we get started is, what about Wanda? I do want to take a moment to point out that Wanda is the whole reason that this corner of the MCU, there's such keen interest in it. And Elizabeth Olsen has done an incredible job with this character under difficult circumstances eventually. For instance, so much character development was done in WandaVision that it really did create this I think, honestly, the most popular female character in the MCU. I really believe that. I think Florence Pugh's Black Widow has a lot of potential, but right now, I think Scarlet Witch is the most powerful and popular female character in the MCU. However, all that character development was undone by Multiverse of Madness, by two guys, I'm sorry to say, who didn't even bother to watch Wanda Vision when they were crafting the sequel. So that was really disappointing to the fandom. And then, not only for that kind of disrespect to be done for Wanda, for her to go from this really character with tremendous depth and pain to just being like, bitches be crazy, the movie with Multiverse of Madness, now for her not even to be in these spin-offs, I think is really disappointing. I don't like that she's probably not going to be in Agatha, and I don't like that she's not, like she wouldn't be in most of Children's Crusade, obviously. So I just think it's just taking too long. All right, so we'll see. Although some of you are like, it's taking too long to get to this trailer. So let's get started. All right. Okay, we're going to break it down. Here we go. All right, so I got to be fast on the draw. I know that some of you have told me how you can do the keys to make it to go stop and start frame by frame, but I'm not doing this from a Safari YouTube window. I'm importing this as a QuickTime file. So I'm a bit of a Luddite for someone who has their career online, but this is how I know how to put together the OBS. All right, hold on. All right, I got my notes here. We're going to break it down. That was my intro. Okay. When we're done, I'll go in and I'll put the thing. You guys want the synopsis? Okay, the synopsis. Thanks, Ivan. I'm glad you're having a good time. The synopsis is basically that there's a thing called the Witch's Road. Okay? So, the Joe Locke character, this mysterious goth teen, and we're all just being like, are we supposed to pretend we don't know who that is? Yes. This mysterious goth teen asks Agatha to help him go on the Witch's Road because legend has it when you get to the end of the Witch's Road, you get what you're missing. Now that to me sounds like you're going to get duped, where they're like, you were missing love, and you're like, what? I didn't want that. I wanted the stuff that I wanted, because I think Agatha obviously wants her powers back, and I wouldn't be surprised if, let's see what this mysterious goth teen is after. It could be family members. It could be maybe something that could be like a surprise where we're like, whoa, we weren't expecting that. That was beautiful, man. All right. Okay. So that's the official log line for the show. All right, so we start out, you're like, what is this? It's the Northeast. Is that a Karen? Karen PD. And it's obviously a take on Mare of Easton. Some people have pointed out that her partner here is one of the extras from Wanda Vision, potentially. All right, and they're like, we got a dead body. Blunt force trauma. Was it perhaps a bunch of stones that fell from a temple in Multiverse of Madness? Because she was pummeled to death when the temple fell on top of her. So it's almost, I think, I read it like, Ivan points out that it's an Agnes of Westview title reference. I do wonder if all those titles that they floated out there are like chapters of this. The Mare of Easton was a TV show, just like WandaVision. What? Are they going to do that again? That would be amazing. I don't know how I feel about that, because you are going to see some kind of costuming and things like that. And we saw things, some people are saying their episode names. Potentially, but then it would be TV themes. I think I kind of liked that just being for Wanda, because it came from Wanda, although I guess they are technically in Wanda's spell, right? Oh yeah, they're trapped in the TV show. So I guess that kind of works, although this isn't a sitcom. But yeah, Mare of Easton. And they're doing recent shows, which I think is interesting. So yeah, I wonder if, Elia, we're not quite there yet. You guys don't jump ahead with you guys are distracting me. I'm going to have to go back to ignoring your comments until the Q&A. All right, so the idea is potentially that this is how Agatha becomes alerted to the fact that Wanda is dead in the real world, because this manifests in her spell that she's trapped in. So you can see the body. It's it's all twisted. It's got the dark fingers, the telltale sign of reading the Darkhold diaries, or just one diary. But maybe that's the Princess Diaries episode. That's a pretty good shot there. I like that shot. Good and creepy. All right. We've been talking about whether or not this is W. Maximoff as in Wanda or William. It's kind of androgynous. It could maybe be either one. Because remember, in the comics, Billy and Tommy's spirits entered the bodies of somebody who died and took that over. So I wonder if they'll do that here. Even though they were having them age up in Wanda Vision, so that would have solved the issue. Okay. So she's working the case, and she said, I just can't shake that I know maybe I have a lead, but I think I know even more. And there it is. And you can see the W. Maximoff in beautiful handwriting appears on the toe tag. Some people have pointed out these dates are like maybe when Wanda Vision appears, Stanley's birthday, Elizabeth Olsen's birthday. I think it would be funny if you were like the intern who had to think of this stuff. They're like, well, we just can't have a toe tag, so why don't you come up with some stuff? And you're like, okay, that's not a library card. I think it's a toe tag. It's at the end of the toe, isn't it? It could be a library card. Let's see. That would be an amazing edit to just kind of like, just be like, that wasn't a toe tag. All right, so either that's Wanda. So somebody took the book out, and maybe that's even more likely that it's Wanda. It says public library. All right, well, then it's definitely a library card. Unless someone tied that library card to the toe of that body. All right, so then I think it's definitely Billy Maximoff. Although, wouldn't it therefore be Billy Kaplan? So we'll see. Okay. So W. Maximoff. She's like, whoa, what the F? So there is another witch. Another witch has broken in to the spell and is like, I think it's an interesting line. And the rumor is that maybe these two characters are ex-girlfriends. Okay, so she knows Agatha very well. Oh, that's funny, Jeff. It's the Darkhold library book card. That's funny. I like that. That would be hilarious if it was the Darkhold. All right, so Aubrey Plaza is playing this witch, the Green Witch, and she says, is this really how you see yourself? This hard-boiled detective, I guess. Yes, Michaela, LGBT girlfriends. That's the rumor, that they were former girlfriends. All right, and so she's like, you're stuck in that crazy witch's spell. And she tells her to claw her way out. And you can see all the different versions from the television, from WandaVision, all the way down to the black and white. And by the way, the feet in this shot are no longer have black on them. So that's very interesting to me, that the body itself changes. It's no longer Wanda's body or whatever that was, that vision. All right, so there she is. That's the shot. I think that's one of the less good shots in the trailer. So I was surprised that Marvel itself used it for the thumbnail, but that's what they decided to go with. All right, so there she is. Marvel Television. Oh yeah, they're using that now. Even though Kevin Feige hated it so much originally when Jeff Loeb ran it, now they're calling this stuff Marvel Television. Okay. It really underscores that maybe you don't need to watch it to watch the movies. And I think that's a mistake. All right, so she says, boy, I really, don't you just miss it? And so these are obviously, this show will have some flashback sequences. All right, and so you can see, like that's, but this, for instance, I don't think is a flashback. Because if they're doing television shows, I think this might be a television show. Because you're going to see some of the other witches also in themed costuming. So maybe this is Stranger Things. Maybe they're doing Stranger Things. Wouldn't that be interesting? Because at the end, maybe that's a Stranger Things little bit. My favorite part of the trailer, by the way, is the very last bit. All right. So she, you can see usually she would be making those like purple threads that she made in WandaVision. Can't make them. She can't make them there. And she's like, that damn Wanda took all my powers. But she's like, but I can be the witch that I once was. Look, it's another hexagon. Remember? Oh, that was something else we had a fun time doing. Remember when we were watching Wanda Vision? We were like, ooh, what do the hexagons mean? Oh, so many hexagons, they're everywhere. And they never ended up doing anything with that. But look, they still have some. There we go, right? Okay, so it's a hexagon doorway, and you can see that. Oh, a pentagon? Is that a pentagon? Ah, damn it. So it's close to a hexagon. Okay. Why would it be a pentagon and not a hexagon? Why did we do all this stuff with hexagons and then you have a pentagon? I mean, obviously, that fits with tarots and everything like that, tarot cards, but ridiculous. Okay. All right, so, woo. That's an angry witch. So you can see we have all these witches. We have our coven that they've assembled. All right. And not one of them is based on, for the most part, on a comic book character. I mean, I think there might be, oh, thank you, Luis. That's very kind of you. You know, there might be like, you know, some, maybe they're vaguely linked to some other, to some comic book character. But you have to understand that Wanda herself actually isn't very well developed in the comics, which is why Kevin Feige hasn't known what to do with her. So it's a shame that they haven't just let somebody just decide what to do. Yeah, I mean, some of these witches might have a name from the comics, but they haven't really done very much, you know? So I think that it, you know, it's not something you're going to be like, oh, like you guys are like, oh, that's Jennifer Kale. Jennifer Kale doesn't have like some famous comic book story where you're like, they're finally going to adapt it. So I think that that's something that's a little bit of a hindrance to this show. Okay. Oh, and by the way, so that's interesting. You have all those women, and then, you know, Joe Locke's character. So I think that's really interesting. Where'd he go? Hold on. Yeah. So I think that's really interesting that he's the only male member of the coven. All right. Then we've got the Green Witch, who clearly, as you can see, unless she's pulling a Wednesday Addams and working at the local, like, you know, historic theme park, she also has been around for quite some time. Perhaps many of these witches have been around for quite some time. But we know that Agatha has, and now also Rio. All right. So, you know, that would be interesting if they were a little bit like, I spoke about Good Omens, and, you know, there you have an angel and a demon who have been together and kind of flirting with each other for millennia. And so, you know, you have to wonder maybe what this relationship has been like overall throughout all these millennia for these two witches. Maybe one's kind of good and kind of bad, you know? I think that could be really interesting. And that would make Aubrey Plaza the David Tennant version of the relationship, and that's a pretty good fit. Okay. So there we go. There's our coven. Although you see this character here in the back, the blonde woman from Wanda Vision, the rumor is that she actually is not a witch, but she's just hanging out with them. Maybe she, you know, a lot of times witches have a human hang around to help them out with stuff. But, you know, so maybe that's the joke there. Okay. So there we are. There's the Witch's Road. So what house is that? Is that Wanda's house? Oh, that's interesting. So they have a couple of different houses that you'll see them heading to, and they all have very different theming. You know, not only like eras, but where they are geographically. So that's cool. All right. So Patti LuPone. All right. So that was, so by the way, she said the Witch's Road is dangerous. And some people thought this might be Wanda. It's really hard to see. But, you know, very Wanda-like with the costume and the arms wrapping around the tree. So maybe you think it's Aubrey Plaza? She does have like a costume like that. But it's cool. It's very cool. This is coming out during the Halloween season, right around the same time that Beetlejuice comes out, which I think is, they kind of compete with each other in my opinion. But, you know, one's a movie and one's a weekly show. So let's see here. So look at that. Oh, darn. Okay, hold on. There we go. So I wonder if maybe Wanda doesn't show up. Does Wanda's subconscious show up? That looks a little bit, yeah, this is September. Beetlejuice comes out in September as well, Elise. So yeah, you know, this looks almost like, you know, some of you said like Dracula, but, you know, it looks a little bit like, you know, the Eastern European country that, of course, Wanda and Pietro hail from. So maybe, I mean, you would think maybe it's Doom. For those of you who have not read Children's Crusade, spoiler alert, in the comic, Wanda was hanging out with Doom. So that's where she was. But I don't think they would give that. I mean, if this show introduced Doom, it would be huge. But I think it's very unlikely that this show is going to introduce Doom to the MCU. I mean, we'll see. Maybe. That would be very, very, in line with the comics. So we'll see what they decide to do. So it's something like that. Why would, Kyle, great question. Why would Doom be on the Witch's Road? Well, for those of you who don't know, Doom has both scientific and mystical powers. That's one of the things that has given him an edge over the years, sometimes over the Fantastic Four, is that he also partakes in magic. So he would very much be on the Witch's Road, and that's why he was interested in Wanda in the first place in the comics. So maybe it is Doom. Wouldn't that be amazing if it was Doom? That would totally transform the show if it were Doom. But I think we might be pulling another Mephisto where we're like, this week I know Doom's going to show up. And then we're just like, damn it, it was not Doom. Okay, but I mean, I wish it were Doom. It would be really big for the show and beneficial to the show if it were. Okay. So I think it looks there like the other witches are giving Agatha some powers. Because, she said she's low on powers. So maybe they give her a little bit of a boost so that she can, defend herself and be helpful on the Witch's Road. That's kind of what that looks like to me. All right. That's very nice of them. I think that's an edit. Into the purple? Because maybe it's not. That's a great hat, by the way, Agatha. But yeah, so we'll see. I love that shot. Oh, it's like she's in a different project. So as you can see, there's the green witch with a green flame. And you're like, oh, wow, you're really taking these color theming it to a whole new level. And they're like, that's right. But I mean, I don't mind. I mean, it's fine. Although Dr. Doom's color is green. So we'll see. But yeah, I do think it looks nice. It's a nice effect. Okay. And I like that she waves. Is that the beginning of their flirtation? Hold on, let me see if I can catch it. Yeah. That does look very flirtatious and very sweet. Maybe that's how they find each other back in the day. They're like, are you a witch? Are you a witch? Let's talk in the woods at night and fall in love. Okay. So that's a pretty good shot of the goth teen. Goth teen. We don't know who this is. This is a goth teenager. All right. I love this shot. Now let me see if I can catch it. Oh, I missed it. Hold on. Let me go back. Now, when you're watching this, give me a second. I can't get it to stop, but in some of the frames, the lights above, some of them are green. For the most part, this is purple. And that, of course, is the color for Agatha, and she's helping goth teen here. However, a couple of the lights go green, so it would make me feel that Rio is somehow involved in this situation. I also like this room because it reminds me of where they always have Magneto, and of course, he's technically the grandfather of this goth teen, if it is the goth teen in question. They've never discussed that in the show, in the MCU, but still. All right. Damani, I checked that Variety article, and it had seemed to have been not in there anymore. So, all right. So you saw, I got all distracted with that. Okay, hold on. So look at this. One witch becomes 7. Oh, so there's some of you might not know what the rumor is, as to who these characters are. Some of you have heard of what their name is, but I think for those people who don't know, let's not spoil everything. Do you guys want to know? I mean, it's out there. Let's leave it. It's out there. What's out, but I think you guys, don't you want to have some surprises when you're watching the show? Okay. All right. So, let's see here. So, look, there's Agatha. Her face is real messed up, man. She's you'll see why in a minute actually, but she's having a good time. She doesn't care. Okay. So look, they're having a little bit of a that's a great look for Rio. She looks like she's going to work out at the gym. She's got a lot of modern athletic attire on. I'm like, have you been to Lululemon? And she's like, yes, they had a sale. And I'm like, I love everything that you bought, Rio, from top to bottom. Okay. So look, she does this crazy kickoff. That looks a little weak. So I'm like, why are you guys fighting? Why don't you love each other? Oh, so here in that one shot there, they're flying on broomsticks because the witch's got a witch. So you can see them flying on broomsticks there, and there's another follow-up shot on that. Now here, we'll see what's happening here. Those look like those same 7 witches from a little bit earlier. I wonder who that is. I wonder if that's Agatha. So Patti LuPone there. But don't trust the edit. It's interesting you bring up Hocus Pocus, Kyle. I hope this is stronger than Hocus Pocus 2. She's like, what witch in her right mind would want to be part of Agatha Harkness's coven? And I love that. Okay, so Goth Teen is like, you bitch, I love it. Okay, and Agatha's having a great time too, and she's like, I'm not looking for right-minded witches. And I'm sure Patti LuPone was like, then you came to the right place. All right. So I wonder what's going on with the Ouija board. I wonder if this is like the origin of Goth Teen, potentially. Because I believe there's one boy at that party at the very least. Okay. So look, see? There's Patti LuPone in a crazy wig. And there's like some kind of flashback. There they go. They're going E.T. style across the moon. A blood moon. A blood moon or a Scarlet Witch moon. Oh, I love it. I hope it is a Scarlet Witch moon. All right, so they're flying across the moon. And see, there's the glass right hitting Agatha. And that's how I think her face was all cut up. Because she took a window to the face, my friend. All right. Oh, and look, that's where she was with the Goth Teen. It is fun to call him Goth Teen. With Goth Teen, the ceiling falls in. Good thing she got him out of there. What the heck am I even? Oh, something's coming out of that guy's mouth. And then there's Agatha being like, oh, baby, I love this. I'm back. And then they go, Agatha All Along. I guess that kind of works with her being immortal. No, this was my favorite part. This was my favorite part. I just thought this was funny. So people have pointed out that Wanda, so they're all kind of like in their Stranger Things type get-ups, right? And then she's like, baby, are you okay? And so Wanda did this exact kind of walk in Sam Raimi's Multiverse of Madness. Seemed out of character to me, but it did look cool. All right, so they brought it back. Agatha's going to do the Wanda. And I like that she's coming over here, and I love that she goes over to poor Goth Teen. And I just thought that Joe Locke was very funny here. I like the way he did it. I just thought that was funny. It made me feel like the show would be funny. I was like, oh, I like it. 2-episode premiere of what, 6, man? Oh, man. We'll see. But, 2-episode premiere September 18th. So Beetlejuice will come out a little bit beforehand. All right. And purple for Disney Plus. We get it. Her color is purple. Okay. So let's put up the poster. And then we can do the Q&A. But that's my breakdown. Nope. No. Where'd it go? There we go. All right. Q&A section. We'll do 5 minutes of Q&A. So till 3:51. All right. So does anybody have questions or comments about this trailer only, please? We're only discussing this trailer. This isn't a general Q&A. Let's see here. Dancing Dog 60 says, as long as this is at least as much fun as Wednesday, this would do well with general audiences. But let's see. How many episodes was Wednesday? I don't remember off the top of my head. But I know they were long, too. It was 8 episodes. Wednesday was 8 episodes, and I think they were all about like at least 45 minutes. And so you got a lot of bang for your buck. And I think Disney Plus shows are extremely short. All right, let's see here. Make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I did not. Okay, there's one. Trisha says, hey Grace, I feel this show is going to get targeted so much. You know, everything's getting targeted these days. The Gladiator 2 trailer, I was surprised to see that was targeted aggressively. And you're like, do you not know your Roman history? I mean, it's accurate. I think people are going off of history that has been inaccurately told to them, and it's being corrected to be accurate. So, but I do feel this show is going to have a bit of a hard time, and I'm worried about it. But I hope that it's going to have enough love out of the gate, like the Acolyte got when Kumir showed up fully, that that maybe it'll work out. Liam says it's wonderful to finally see an appropriately campy. So Liam says it's great to see an appropriately campy gay teen after years of them only being comic relief. Oh, that's a great take on that, Liam, because I know some people are concerned about that. So Liam, says, it's certainly there are lots of obviously very like every group, lots of different types of people in it, and so that type has perhaps been the most stereotyped, but to present them in an authentic, organic way. And I really trust Joe Locke. I cannot say enough good things about Joe Locke. I'm a really big Joe Locke fan. So I would trust him to do that. I wish someone had said that to the person cutting the trailer. I think people who are Heartstopper fans, who, let's be honest, are the most interested in this show, I think would understand that and have a lot of context for Joe Locke already because they've seen him in a show where he gets a tremendous amount of character development. But I think a number of people who haven't seen Heartstopper, who are being introduced to the actor for the first time, they don't have that to help them understand how great he is. Let's see here. Good Guy Nick says, trailer was much better than expected, but he's still not sold on the show. Let's see here. Nicholas Cardillo says, expectations is 18 to 24. 18 minutes? That's just being a hater, Nicholas. I don't think any Disney Plus show is that short. I've never seen that. Let's see here. Hold on. Oh, I missed a bunch of comments. I'm coming back. Okay. Jack says, amazing song by Florence and the Machine. I'm not familiar with that group's work. But I'm glad that a lot of people are happy with it. I don't know. I'm not a big music fan, so I know it kind of. But I'm glad that song clicked with people. Like, people were saying they really hated the song, the rap that they put on Gladiator 2. Yeah, it wasn't a great fit, but I understood it. It didn't bother me. I know it's not going to be used in the actual movie. I know it's just for the trailer. Ryan says, I've been cautiously optimistic for this, and after seeing the trailer, I'm officially excited. That's fantastic. Look, my Sweeney Todd glass is even sort of themed. Damani says, based on the trailer, do you think Joe Locke is doing a good job? I think it's hard. It's hard for me to say because I do know what a great actor he is from Heartstopper. I think he's wonderful. I cannot say a bad thing about Joe Locke because I love him so much. Let's see here. Neon Penguin says, I heard a theory that this show was going to be doing different horror thriller shows. Wanda did feel-good sitcoms. Agatha will be doing horror. Well, Mayor of Easttown isn't a horror show, but I guess that would kind of work with mysteries maybe, because Stranger Things, I guess, would fit there as well. Prince Zodiac says, hi, Grace, love what you do. I joined so I could call this to your attention. And on the toe tag, August was before June. Maybe somebody had the book out for a really long time. You don't know. But thank you, Prince Zodiac. I don't know who's going to be Hulkling. Who asked that? Liam, I don't know who's going to be Hulkling. I do not believe that character will show up on this show. Diego Del Rey says, the song choice reminded me of the movie Beautiful Creatures. Oh, I remember that movie. That was the guy who played Han Solo, one of his first roles. I think I might have interviewed him for that. That was not a bad movie. Andrew Kills World says, Grace, is this show going to matter? I'm not sure. I think it's going to matter very much so in building out the Wandaverse, and I think that I do believe Goth Teen will be very important to the MCU. But if you're not interested in the Wandaverse, unless Doom shows up, which I would highly recommend that he does, I haven't heard anything about that, I don't know how. I mean, I hope that people who aren't interested in the WandaVerse like don't watch the show, because I mean I don't want that hate there. I mean, it's for the Wanda Vision fans. Let us rejoice in the Wanda Vision, in the WandaVerse. I feel like Bane from Harley Quinn. I've been watching my Kite Man screeners, and I love Bane. He's so funny. WandaVerse. Let's see here. Sounds also a little bit like Yoda, apparently. Let's see here. So GUI Moira says, do you think this show has big awards chances like WandaVision? I would be surprised. It doesn't look, I mean, let's see. But I mean, especially if it's copying the, I mean, I think the sitcom thing really helped Wanda from an artistic standpoint and being taken seriously. But this is not, this is just copying that. I mean, like think of Stranger Things. Stranger Things is an incredible show. Does not get a ton of awards love. I just think it's too genre for the awards section. Sammy, I bet you there's an end credit scene. I think there would be. This seems like the kind of show that would have some end credit scenes. Harlequin Dove says, in the comics, is Agatha a complete villain or an anti-hero? Will the show follow that? She's pretty much a villain in the comics, but I mean, she's getting a costume somewhat closer to her comic book counterpart, but they've really significantly altered the comic book character, and I'm glad they have. Oh, David, I'm sorry you retracted your message there. Aspian Venix says, I'm afraid that making the only male character in the show, you have some concern. So Aspian Venix has some concern about the broad appeal of the show. I have similar concerns, and I do worry about toxic behavior that we're seeing in the space these days. I think that the show was engineered not only at a simpler, happier, more peaceful time. I think it was engineered by Jack Schaefer coming off of tremendous success with Wanda Vision, where she didn't have to deal with that. And also Jack Schaefer, bless her heart, is not in this space. She's not into comic books, which somehow worked out. And I doubt she goes online and sees any comments. So I think she's just making a show that she thinks would be appealing. And heck, maybe it is. But I don't think she understands the space that she's in from a business perspective. Chris Porras says, what do you think of the rumored musical numbers? Oh, I hope that's a rumor. That's untrue. I hope. I haven't heard anything, but I'm not into that. Let's see here. Vasilis, even if I knew about surprise cameos, I wouldn't tell you. You don't want to be surprised. I mean, don't you want to be surprised? I mean, Mephisto never showed up, but it was sure a party thinking you would every week. I mean, I think we want to try and get back to that, don't you think? That's funny, Mish. Wanda going to be the new Mephisto. That's pretty funny. Let's see here. Nicholas says maybe their powers do match the Infinity Stones. I would hope so. I would hope they would tie it in together like that. Hold on. YouTube skipped me ahead. Thanks, Sammy. I love you too. Vanille says, hey, Grace, trailer looks amazing. I think Joe will kill it as Wiccan. Big fan of Heartstopper. You know, if that's who he's playing, you know, I think he would. I was thrilled when he was potentially cast. Brock Humphrey says, I wonder if this dead Wanda is the same Wanda from Multiverse of Madness, is the same Wanda that possessed Wanda that went to go back to get her kids and never made it back. I think they're all, to some degree, Wanda. I mean, that's a difference. I think, isn't she wearing a hoodie in this scene? I mean, a lot of people were like, it's the same shirt, and it didn't look like the same shirt to me. I hope that Jack Schaefer has indeed layered in all this stuff. Because, you know, we played that game with Wanda Vision, and sometimes we were rewarded and sometimes we weren't. Thanks, Mr. Magic. Lewis says, hope to get Werewolf by Night, Elsa, and Man-Thing. Do they really belong on this show? I don't know about that. I think we're focusing on witches here. Jacob, I'm optimistic as well. Okay, I can't go back any further. Let me see if I missed anything else here. Let's see here. What is it? Chem Fresh? That's a cool name. Is very excited about this show. Mr. Andrews says, why do you think Marvel produced this show? What are they building here? Well, Mr. Andrews, that's a great question. I think the intention is that Wanda Vision was so successful, and yet they didn't have a path forward because of Multiverse of Madness really being the sequel to that show, and that they kind of spread out the characters on these very different paths at the end of Wanda Vision. How could they make a sequel? So I think this was their idea of kind of doing a backdoor sequel. And I think that we'll see how it works out. As I said, I don't think it's very well constructed from a business perspective, but if at least it pleases the Wanda fans, then I think it will be beneficial to the MCU. Mike says, if Goth Teen were to be Wiccan, would maybe get his full costume at the end of the show. I sure hope he would. Because then I'm like, what are we doing here, man? And I hope it's got thumb holes, and I'm sure it does. Let's see. Jander says, do you think this show will be similar to Heartstopper in success? I don't know. Heartstopper was successful enough to be renewed on Netflix, but I don't know how successful it is. I don't know how successful Heartstopper is from like a Disney Plus Marvel perspective. Let's see here. Faith in Film says, Grace, I love Miss Marvel and loved and liked the Captain Marvel movie, but this seems to alienate the core male audience, and I say this as a fan. I do think that's something that many franchises are not taking into account. I think it's important for different communities to be represented in these big franchises, but as I've been saying many times, that's what's equally important is that these things are therefore successful, so that this expansion is seen, this representation and expansion is seen as a plus to the franchises, and so. They have to be well done, and I feel like too often franchises don't take that seriously. So like this needs to be really good. The new Captain America needs to be really good, and there's it's not even just like it's an added responsibility, not just to the franchise and the fans and the source material, but now it becomes to the groups that you're representing, and so these things should be designed for maximum success. And I know that might fly in the face of the showrunners who are like, I just want to make the best show I can. And you go, but that does involve it being successful. And I think we found that there are some groups, at least so far, that just are not willing to come over to these spaces as much as Hollywood might like them to. Vincent says, will Wanda's presence at least be mentioned? If not, I'm not sure. I can't imagine how it wouldn't. Let's see here. Oh, am I over my time? I love talking to you guys. And then Dolan says, as a member of the LGBTQ community, I'm really hoping the show gives the legitimate rainbow energy I've been wanting in the MCU forever. That's Wiccan, and so if Wiccan were to be in this show, Wiccan really would need to be launched successfully. Camille, I'm so glad you're able to participate in today's stream. Adam Kovacs, I'm so sorry, but I'm not a big Patti LuPone fan. Goth teen gasp. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Patti LuPone fan. But, I respect Patti LuPone. I totally understand what she brings to the table. But I'm not particularly excited to see her. Let's see here. TJM, I don't know if Doom is on this show or not, but I would take any Doom I could get. I think it would be just so beneficial to this show. Let's see here. Hey, Zoli. Ivan Sarmiento would like to point out that there will be strong male energy in Deadpool 3 and Cap 4, so it should balance with Agatha. But that's not the point. People are supposed to watch every single MCU project. That was why the MCU was successful, that you had to watch every single entry to follow the story. And so if you start creating a situation where you don't have to do that, well, then what are we doing here? Klaus says, do you think Halloween will boost this? That would be nice. I'll take whatever I can get. Oh, Jennifer, I hope you're safe in the hurricane. Let's see here. Jake's review, I see your comments there. Jess Garen, I don't think Enchantress will be on this show. I almost feel like Sylvie was the MCU's answer to the Enchantress. Okay, we'll do a quick poll before we go, okay? How does Agatha All Along look to you? Then we have amazing, and then like pretty good. And then we have I'm skeptical. And then not for me, to be polite. I didn't ignore anyone's super chat intentionally, Faith in Films. I got skipped forward a little bit. I have a lot of questions here, as you can see. I can't get to everything, I'm sorry to say. But now I kind of want to see your comment. Is it toxic? I'm going looking. Anybody can vote in the poll, by the way. I don't see your comment. I don't see it. Is that it? Hold on. Ah. Frickin' shmemina. I can't get it to... I'm sorry, I can't see it. This is a popular live stream. I'm sorry. I try to get to them as many as possible. Let's see here. You know, Tristan, I loved Sabrina, and I would love for this to be kind of like Sabrina. Although, I think Sabrina eventually ended up getting canceled, and, Sabrina was in its own universe. It was a spinoff of Riverdale to a degree. Do you not see a poll, Cat Shack? Because we've been having problems with polls. Although this one's getting good voting. Let me see if my press release has anything about how many episodes it was. I got a press release yesterday. Let me go take a look at it. Doesn't say. Just says 2-episode premiere. Wanda had a decent number of episodes. Those were the days. Remember Wanda Vision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki? It was beautiful. Oh, hey, Cowboy Kush. Thank you for that. That's very generous of you. All right, I'll give the vote another minute. Hey, Samir. Hey, I'm glad you stayed. Oh, you stayed up till 4 a.m. You're a superstar. Thank you. Okay, Faith in Films. I am a fan of Ms. Marvel and like Captain Marvel. I did answer that, Faith in Films. I answered that specific question. I'm sorry you missed it. Okay. All right, I'm going to close the poll. Here it goes. All right, I have to read the poll out loud because it doesn't show up in the rewatch. All right, so 38% of you think it looks pretty good. 33% of you think it looks amazing. So that's great. That's great. That's like 70% of you think it looks good. I mean, you are tuning into this breakdown, but that's great. 18% of you are skeptical, and only 9% of you think it's not for you. And then I also really appreciate you tuning into this breakdown because, you're not particularly interested in the show that we're discussing. All right, well, I better get going because this has turned into a very long breakdown. As always, an absolute delight with you guys every time. And I will see you tomorrow. We're going to break down The Acolyte and some kind of live stream. We're going to have a good time. Okay, everybody. I love you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.